Hey guys, how are you? I'm out here. Behind camp, I could see that there were power lines when I came in. So, probably can't see the wires overhead, but you can see the poles. Gonna spin around slowly. Look at all these. This is cover. These mountain laurels, rhododendrons, whatever. But I am out following the power lines just to see if I come across any sign out here. As I got past camp, I noticed that there was kind of like a blind looking down over my campsite and possibly the one below me. I didn't go up to it just because there were people around, the camp host. I didn't want to think I was some kind of nut job. But yeah, I'm off in the woods looking for sign, and I'll keep you posted. So right now, I am on a footpath off of the power lines. The power lines are right up above me. Sorry about that spin, kids. You can kind of see the clearing. Piles of brush on the edge where they keep it clear. Oh. And a car. I mean, it was sandy, but not that. Gotta check out to see exactly where I am. I've only been on the trail for a little while, so I assumed that was the power lines because they were up in that direction. But over here, there's a mess of gnarled trees, things down. From higher up on the trail, I thought I could see an X. So I'm gonna run over and see what we got, if anything. While I'm alone in the woods. Okay. Ferns trampled down as I walk through here. So, I don't know if you can see that. That's a pretty large impression. With what looks like a possible heel mark. I'm gonna step back. Pardon me while the camera goes everywhere. I don't think you can make out the impression, but it's considerably larger than my size 11 hiking boot. Slowly pan up. So piles of trees, mismatched in age. That could just mean that they fell separately. I do like the moss around here. Okay, you can see part of what I called an X earlier. Let's go look closer. That does not look like a real X to me. Looks basically like, well, spiders. Big ugly ones. Sorry about that. So there it is from the angle. That might not be it. Simply because it's pointing in a different direction I was coming from. For all I know. Apparently I'm not a pathfinder. Got some leans here. I should look through the lens. Sorry. Or at the screen, rather. Yeah. Possible impression. Big heavy impression. lots of like possible leaners, and I'm saying that simply because I see a bunch of like half-assed evidence, but nothing to make me stay here much longer. Like, I don't see any inverted trees. Yeah, I don't see enough here to waste your time, any more of your time. Oh, sorry guys. I guess it is right here. Another very large impression, considerably longer than my foot. Oops, where's my, sorry about that. Possible heel down here. Appears to be a little wider at the top. I'm not convinced of anything. So you know I'm not crazy. These are the power lines that I came up. And behind me is the road. So, not too bad a mistake to have made. So this trail that I'm on goes right along the ridge of a mountain, which is pretty cool. If you look behind me, you can see another ridge. And if I spin around, careful, look at me, focus on me, there we go. That was 180. We are looking at another mountain ridge. I've been going up about 20 degrees. It looks like it's switching to about 30, 33 in front of me. So I thought I'd tell you that before I'm out of breath. This little thing glinting in the sun is my tracking device. So when I die out here, they'll be able to find my body. That's kind of nice. For my family, anyway. For me, it probably wouldn't be. So, when the world ends, which may or may not be soon, I don't know, don't follow this trail, right? Because if someone's looking for you as a meal, as a target, whatever, now I'm not a survivalist, but they can see your silhouette against, you know, the light comes through. They can see that you're walking through trees in this case. I believe the things that we're looking for would never take a trail like this. I'm taking it just to get to the top and look at the view. They would be just below, probably shadowing the trail on one side or the other. I think depending on the time of day and where in the sky the sun is. They get to move unseen. There's going to be more brush down there. And less opportunity for them to be silhouetted against the backdrop of a sky, even the gray sky like this. So just a thought as I was walking along, hoping no one's aiming a gun at me. To all those guys I was just in Florida Bigfooting with, those of you who said, geez, I'd like to lose, a few pounds. Stop Bigfooting in a swamp. Come north, give me a call. But this will knock that extra weight off you in no time. Just not that any of you had extra weight, but the weight you mentioned you'd like to lose. Just saying. The other thing is that hill thing in the last segment is called the military crest of the hill. God, my dad told me about that probably 40 years ago. I think it's been backed up in the Bigfooting world by people like Nathan Rio. I think Michael Merchant might have said something about it. And I'm sure there are a few others. Well, there's a couple others going, oh yeah, that makes sense. So, I just thought that I would let you know I know what they call it, so you don't have to chime in and educate me later. All right, gonna go back, try and save some battery life for when I actually find some sign. Ultimately, guys, I think this is just a sketchy area of forest. Trying to see root balls at this point. I just got this far down on the trail. I'm down the other side of where I was going up before. And been coming through a lot of just damage. I don't think it's quote-unquote sign. I think it's just, you know, a steep, messy part of the woods. Some things, I don't know if you can see the asterisks back in there. All kinds of things tucked, but ultimately not convinced. I saw what looked like a teepee, started thinking about heading in, and then I went further down the trail and realized that it was just parallax. So that root ball has been ripped out of the ground, but it quite possibly could have been done right there. And it looks like this tree here is still in the ground. I'm gonna call this one, well, here's the, I did not notice that. So not only did it go through the Y in this tree, but if you look at that tree, it is also sitting in a Y. How this tree that we're looking at here made it through? I guess up there, yeah, it's wide enough, but if you look at the top of that tree, it splits off into a Y that never would have fit. Now, could it have turned? Yeah. Did it? We'll probably never know. Ultimately, this is the only thing, and I was going to show you it and say, geez, it's not very curious. But now that I see it landing in that nook and this nook and having that, you know, Y at the top, the odds of it falling through at just the right angle to fit through this tree here is pretty curious. I mean, I you know, that you know, arm that sticks off of that Y there, is it heavy and weighted down, and so that went first and that's how it fit through? Maybe. Is it about the same size as the other fork on that Y? Yeah, it is. So, did that one weigh it down? I don't know. Do they look about the same size? Same kind of tree, quite possibly the same weight. Who's to say how it fell and how it fit through that? Right? So that's just that branch. Now if we follow this other tree down, this is a root ball. It's not in the ground. It's sitting on top of the ground. Some curious other little recognizable shapes for those of you who watch anyone's channel. Holy smokes, you can watch The Trail to Bigfoot and see the triangles. You can watch GPE and see triangles like that. You can watch Annie K in Germany and see triangles like that. Deborah Filello in France, and you can see things like that. You can watch my videos from New England and see triangles like that. And now here I am, you know, 1,000 miles away from that. And there they are again. Once again, in the company of other curious evidence. So, you know, Justin Chernopesky, a couple weeks ago, because I could see it, so it was when I was home 3 weeks ago, put a video up saying that a lot of this stuff is probably just tree fall. And when you look at the stuff I showed you at the beginning of this video, yeah, I absolutely agree. But some of it is still A, very curious, and B, the grouping of evidence with it makes it just makes me think, yeah, that I don't know what else it could be. Still haven't found a credible tree guy. I got a line on a credible tree guy who may even be willing to come on my channel. Not that the last tree guy I spoke to wasn't credible. He just didn't want to come on my channel. So ultimately, we really need to up our game in what trees do. A good example of that, and I think I've said it before, is a gentleman named Tom Wessels, and he's a professor at Antioch. He's not going to show us any Bigfoot evidence, but he is going to show us, you know, fallen trees and how to determine wind direction and look back at what historical events, you know, i.e. storms, hurricanes, etc., could have caused that, even way inland. So it's just a good good knowledge to have. I hope you look it up, just so that we're all better at what we do. But this X, yeah, this is really curious. So, like I said, I'll be back when I have more evidence for you. This is really cool. This is a white pine. Who knows how old it is? If you look at the base of it here, that's about 3 feet just across. The diameter of that must be huge. It's you know, years ago the King of England would have had claim to that tree. But if we look over here, just about 15 feet away, is another white pine, almost exactly the same size. Once again, over 3 feet across. And it goes up. I've got a situation back at camp. Can I get them both in here? Oh, I'm going to try and do this and not roll backwards down this. Yes. They're splitting my screen, one on either side. But what happens is, sorry for the shakiness, but I'm out in the woods. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? A gimbal? Go watch Central Florida. That was a joke. He's a friend of mine. So I've got a similar situation. They're about the same distance apart. They're the same size as each other, not necessarily as these two, although they're close. But what I have heard, you've heard of the mycelial network in certain forests, and when there's a mycelial network present, trees tend to help each other. They help feed each other, they interlock at the roots, they help support each other in wind, and things like that. These trees, apparently, when you see them in pairs like this, are doing much the same thing. Oftentimes what's happened is their root systems have pretty much merged. And so they are, in fact, when feeding themselves, feeding each other. And when winds come, they're actually supporting each other and it's really interesting because you find them, you know, in these like pairs. So are they bonded pairs? I don't know. But it's always cool to see that, for me anyway, in the woods. Just a little bit of information that may or may not be true because I heard it from someone who probably heard it from someone, and so on. If you know the truth on that, let me know. I'd love to know. Okay, guys, after what I was saying just a few minutes ago, I have to add to that. Mother Nature is one hell of a shot. So here's a tree that fell. You can see the stump. You see the tree on the ground. It broke in the middle because this part of the arch hit this branched tree and somehow managed to go right through the middle of it, which I was saying a few minutes ago was an incredible feat. So now if we follow this up, and you see that? The sun is right there, but she has done it again. Now, granted, the top of that tree, from what we can see of it, does not have a Y, but she certainly shot straight through both of those, which is pretty much amazing. One hell of a shot, Mother Nature. Let me back up some and hope that I don't trip on over anything. So, yeah. Thread the needle there, and she threaded the needle there. So, damn. Okay, guys, I'm a little wobbly. Hold on. So, do you see what I'm looking at here? I refuse to circle anything in red, but I would like you to look at, where did it go? Yeah, Exhibit A looks like a possible toe. This looks like a possible print here. Comes back to here. Where am I? Sorry. Comes back to here, and then goes up and around there. Toes are pretty evident. Front of the ball of the foot here, there is a mound of pushed up earth in the middle. And there's other flattened areas around here. There's possibility of another over here. And where was the other one? Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, this is a different size. Still has a foot-like shape, and I say foot-like simply because they're big. I'm gonna measure that one and see. I think there's lots of stuff tamped down. Do you see? So that was the first one. And there's one like right next to it in here. There's a small one right here. None of these are deep enough to cast. Maybe if I catch it from an angle. Heel back here, goes up and around here. I don't know if they were picking something up or what, but the footsteps aren't in any one direction. They're all over the place. Is it just that they come through here? This is another foot-shaped indentation, but it's leading away from the rest. Again, none of these are really big enough to cast. This is through, you know, mud. Whereas, I'm gonna, pardon me for the wobble, but they're down here in this waterfall-y part, but there's perfectly dry stuff here that most people are probably gonna walk through. So what it is, I don't know. I am not a doctorate, or I don't have a doctorate in bipedal locomotion. But, you know, Tim T showed me a little. And if Chris Connor's watching, I did not see a question mark on these. He knows what I'm talking about. It did not appear to have a question mark, which is basically the ball of the foot, the edge of the foot, and the heel, which humans have. But this instead had the earth pushed up in the middle of the print. Again, they're not really deep enough to cast. I think it would just go all over the place. Plus, with the wet earth from the river pouring across this little road, I don't think it would work well. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pause. I'm going to get my tape measure out, and we'll go from there. Okay. I don't know if you can see toe marks up there. Ball of a foot. And a heel here. That's a whole another intersecting print, which may change the size of what I'm looking at. I don't know. Is this the top of a toe or the side of a ball from that? I don't know. This is the one that looks most print-like to me. Pardon me. Oh, I'm going to put this down here. All right. So if we go from where I was saying the tip of the toe down to the heel, which was here, right? We're talking about 12 inches. Listen, I understand that's not out of the realm of human possibility, okay? But this area here, the foot appears to bend down here, and in the opposite direction up there. It's alarmingly close to halfway, and like I said, I don't know enough about bipedal locomotion to just say one way or the other. But it's enough that it's curious to me. At 12 inches. All right, to the group that was on the road, on the trail in Florida with me, when I turned around to put the tape measure back in my pack, and I want you to just kind of glance up this hillside. Can you see that? Does it remind us of anything? And it was just staring me right in the face as I'm thinking about these things, trying to figure out, it's right there in the center of the screen now, as I'm looking, trying to figure out just what's going on here. So, you know, that would imply a psychic connection, that would imply they know what we're thinking, that would imply they know where I've been based on that, and I don't think I'm ready to go there. A lot of people have. I have, and I do understand that, and I do see that, but this is coincidence. It's a broken branch. Lots of broken branches have forks in them, but it's just kind of propped up, leaning against a tree, directly in front of my eyesight as I squatted down and put the tape back in my pack. Actually, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stand back and show you. Sorry about the moving and all that. So here's my pack. As I turn around away from the footprints, which are like I'm almost stepping in right now, there's this branch, this leafy branch, and right above it is that, and it's smack dab in front of my face. And so if you guys have watched any of the videos that the other guys who were on that Green Swamp expedition put out, I'm sure that you saw and heard about. This one looks more like the first branch that wasn't shown on the video, The one that started the whole thing?
How does these things happen?
That's shaped like that. It's shaped just like that stick you found back there, Matt.
I know. It's almost like, here you go.
Yeah, he said I'd freak out if I seen this.
Yeah, it's like they.
In the tree. And here's almost the exact same thing you said in the
Yeah,
tree.
it's the same shape and everything. It's just bigger.
It's like they're saying, you mean like this?
Yeah, we can do that.
That's actually better. That's one up.
This is just one more sidebar as we connect dots. The prints are right there. The Y stick is right there. Y sticks are a dime a dozen. If you look around the floor of the forest right now, you could probably find 20 of them, you know? Can you find 20 of them propped up like that? And is there a possible print within, I would say, within 10 feet of it? I'm thinking that you're not going to find that. I'm thinking the answer to that question is no. I do worry about us reading too much into things. In my earlier videos, I used to yell at people for having Bigfoot on the mind. I still think we have a problem with Bigfoot on the mind. But when we start seeing evidence side by side, footprint, Y stick propped up. In the green swamp, the stack of reeds. We had a possible nesting area. We had a track line. You know, how do we find the track line? Tim T from Florida, it's on his video, go check it out. But one thing that he doesn't mention in the video, he sticks like to the facts of the footprints. The way we found that trackway of footprints was we'd come out of the woods, we were sitting down, like at the trucks, you know, sitting on the tailgates like they were benches. We were drinking water, eating, you know, probably like, you know, a little bit of snack food, end of the day kind of snack food. As we're sitting there just kind of talking about the day, talking about Bigfoot, things like that, it sounded like someone threw a huge, like, log. I mean, when I say a big log, I'm talking like, you know, 4 to 6 feet long and like 10 inches wide kind of thing, into the brush. It was this big sound. Bigfoot Dave, Tim T from Florida, and myself all kind of looked at each other like, whoa, what was that? Did you hear it? I think Matt was probably talking. Shocker. I'm just picking on you, Matt. But I took a walk along the road that paralleled that stretch of woods. While I was out there, I heard a knock. I believe Tim T from Florida heard the knock as well. So now we've got that big crashing noise in the woods. We've got a knock. I went right in towards the knock. Tim T was 2 steps behind me. You know, we're looking around. There's this funny story about how I thought I saw Bigfoot staring at me, and it was just a raccoon in the middle of the day climbing a tree. Somewhat curious. And it was 8 feet off the ground, and it had just come up under the bush where I thought I heard the knock coming from, that area, in the right direction. I was shocked. I'm trying to make it out. I'm thinking Bigfoot's looking at me. Bigfoot Dave got a good laugh out of it and pointed out that it was a baby raccoon, and it was. So everyone got a good laugh on my part. And then I believe Tim T and I, a few seconds later, heard another knock. So we start looking around, and that's when Tim all of a sudden, you know, I look over. He's a monotone, subtle, just easygoing guy. And when you turn around, right, this is a guy who knows the woods, and you see someone kneeling down examining something, you take notice. I went over, sure enough, there's what we consider a print that was actually an awful lot like this one. Whoops, excuse me, an awful lot in size, just about, it was 12 inches, I believe. Not only that, but there were more of them in a line. It was the same So multiple prints, same kind of muckish, muddy terrain, leaves, sticks ground in, not a deep print. So this is not deep mud, it's slippery, hard mud. I should point that out. That's why it's not that. That's why it's not that deep and not deep enough to cast. But thanks to Tim T in Florida, I have casting material with me just in case. So if I come across another one, we can cast it. Yeah. So there's all that. Same swamp where we found a Y stick also. So that, you know, you got to look at the, like I started to say, the, excuse me, my hand is just shaking like a leaf right now. In case I haven't told you, I have MS. And now you're supposed to laugh or roll your eyes, depending on who you are. But yeah, it's not so much the individual evidence, it's the fact that when we do find this individual evidence, there's peripheral evidence. You know, it's not just a footprint. It's a footprint and a Y stick. It's a footprint and a knock. Or it's, you know, the combination of all of these. And that's the stuff that makes it interesting. And then there are other spots where you can go in the woods and there's nothing. My entire trip down along the Blue Ridge Parkway, I would look in and I would think that I would see structures. And most of it when I got out, they were just fallen trees. They were inconclusive. Doesn't mean that there wasn't a few structures mixed in. It means that, you know, I don't know. We have to look closer. We have to know what it is we're looking for. And we can't just assume from a distance, oh, that's a structure. Oh, I saw a structure today. No, it's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. It takes like study, you know, time out in the woods, boots on the ground. You know, what does Chris Reinhardt say? Get in the woods. Get in the woods. The more we get in the woods, the more we see, the more we know is just whatever, parallax or what have you. And the more we know what isn't, the more we see those similarities. The you know, compilation, is that the word I'm looking for? The compilation of evidence, you know? The fact that we don't just find a footprint randomly. We find a footprint, maybe a trackway, maybe other footprints, or we find the curious things like, is this a glyph? It may be a glyph, I don't know. X's, tree structures, possible piles of food that they could feed on. Just all kinds of things like that, that when you put them in a cluster, lead to something a whole lot more than just, oh, it's just storm damage, or, oh, that's a human footprint, or you know. We've got to do our homework, we've got to be diligent, and we've got to also sometimes just say, oh yeah, that's, you know, that's a guy, you know, walking barefoot in the woods. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it's something else. Sometimes it's a whole lot more. So, came across another area, like the last one, where the river crosses the road, the trail crosses the road rather. Looking around for prints. From up in this direction. Actually, more accurately, this direction over here. I heard, you know, it could have been a very deep voiced man, and there could be, I haven't been on this trail, the trail could go around and behind it, so it could very well have been a person. But it sounded like Klingon. Most of the people who were in the Green Swamp with me know what I'm talking about. They've heard it. I've heard it. And the reason I say Klingon is it's short vowels and hard consonants. I've described it before. in my video where I'm in my tent in the rain. I hear nothing moving. I hear nothing up there. My voice recorder is back at camp recharging, so I can't even leave that for the night. Just heard a knock from this direction, or it was like a gray catbird, or a red, what was it, red-chested woodpecker? I don't know. Whistles coming from this direction. Now, there are birds in the woods, I know, but it was like a dog calling whistle. It was like a hey you kind of whistle. Just a, well, I'm not going to repeat it, but you know what I mean. It sounded like a child yelling. I don't know if you can hear it. I don't have any kind of external mic on this setup. Before I go too far away, let's just check this dry mud. Not dry mud, but this hard mud, packed mud. So one area here looks like the possibility of a foot-shaped. Did you hear that? That was closer, same call. I hope it came out on video. Could be kids yelling at each other. That could be a rooster. All right. So this print that I was pointing out, sun has changed since last I was there. There's a boot print right next to it. Damn, it's a rooster. So, more areas with possible flat prints. Toes, ball, heel, but this stick's not broken. Although it didn't break there either as I pushed down on it. Inconclusive. Cool as hell, but inconclusive. Somebody's gonna buy that rooster a watch. Okay. I am going to continue up the trail. Only person I've seen all day on the trail. In fact, before I went on it, and I was asking a ranger, or a worker anyway, about where I should be going, and she looked at me, she's like, you're going hiking? It's like, yeah. She's like, oh. Apparently people just come here to have a picnic down at the tables. In fact, on all trails, now whether it has to do with my spotty phone service in North Carolina or what, no information on all trails. All I am is a dot in the middle of green right now. I smell a cigar or a pipe. Wow. It's like really, really strong. All right, I'll check back in. All right, so my disclaimer here is that I have a much easier time talking into a camera than I do into just a microphone. But yeah, I lost camera 2, and camera 2 had all kinds of footage on it. Literally half my footage. I work on a 2-camera system, and it's either the second camera so that you don't see me fumbling, or it's you know, when my battery runs out on camera 1. So I'm not good without a microphone. I'm not good without a camera in my face. Here we go. Right here in front of you is a mystery, quote unquote, footstep. Not necessarily a footprint, but you can see how that stick is broken. And then as I move along, we start to get this, what I call the Highland Trackway, my Highland Trackway. Listen, these are not my prints. I don't know whose prints they are. I don't know what they are. I know that they're 12-ish, maybe a little longer, inch prints that were barefoot, and they were about 4 miles from the parking lot. Some people think that's nothing. Some people would think that's a big deal. I'm just giving you that information. Excuse me. And you can see that they're deep. Now, in the same mud, I was barely leaving a print, and I wish I had thought at the time to take a picture of it. I did not. So then this is like the third print that I found. The first one, I don't even know if it was a print. I just know it was a broken stick and something heavy stepping there. You can examine any of these that you want, because like I said, they're not my prints. They're our prints in the Bigfoot world. So if you want me to email you, a file with all these in it, that's great. I have to warn you that they're HEIC files. So if you don't have a Mac, you might have issues opening them. And converting them was taking me forever. So I actually went out and had to buy a used Mac so that I could show you these. But I think, having people in the woods, boots on the ground, who spend a lot of time out there is a pretty important thing for all of us. See what you can make out of this. It's just another large impression on the ground in an area where at this particular time, do I have things deep enough to cast? Maybe, but I've also got this things moving in the bushes. There's, this what I call Russian going on far off, where I can hear something talking, deep, guttural, hard consonants, short vowels. And it's something that I've heard before in many parts of the country. All right, let's say New England, the swamps of Florida, and here in North Carolina. As I move to the fourth print, now they're really starting. The ground is changing a little. It's getting a little softer. The impressions are, probably an inch deep. And I'm really not making much of anything. This is that 12 or 13 inch print. And I don't have really anything to measure it by, but what are those pine needles? 3.5 inches, something like that. So you can take from it what you want. Okay. The next print, this is my favorite shot of them all. You've probably seen it before. You've got the toes. The only problem is it's full of water. And even if it weren't, I would not be stopping to cast it with what was going on around me. I just wanted to get the hell out of there. And I usually don't run. Especially in the White Mountains, I have these experiences very close to my camp. Weird. Anyway. You'll think I'm crazy. I'm just going to leave it there. This one's hard to see. The next one, rather. And I'm hoping that these all sync up all right. But it is a horizontal print. Toes are on the left. Heel is on the right, if I know my left from my right. And it's, once again, in that trackway. You make of it what you will. These are our prints, not my prints. This one, you really have to look at it. I don't circle things in red. You can see toes towards the top of this photo. You can see a ball of the foot. You can see a heel. And I believe you see perhaps a mid-tarsal break. I don't know. Some people, say they see arches in these. I really don't care. I don't know what kind of foot they have. And until someone shows me something that in each print that defines it, or a bone, or a foot, or, a dead Bigfoot, whatever, we've got to go with what we find. So this is more of what I found. This one, the print is going across that stick in the mud. Heel to the left, toes to the right. Make of it what you will. Is it something? I don't know, but was it in that trackway? Yes, it was. And this is one of my favorites. I don't think it's the same foot. It's about the same size. And it's, again, about an inch deep into the mud. It appears to have a different shape than the others. So here it is next to my hiking stick. And then here's my hiking stick next to a tape measure. So I believe it was about a 12-inch print. It might have been a little shorter. It might have been 11, 11 and a half, 12. Puts it in the realm of human possibility. I understand that. But really, enough so that I stopped, photographed it, and thought to lay the hiking stick down next to it rather than the measuring tape. I would have had to stop, take my pack off, and all that stuff. And at that point in my trip, I was not doing that because stuff was happening all around me. Could have been a bear, could have been anything, who knows what it was, but it was enough to make me just want to get back down that mountainside into camp. And I still, at this point, probably had about 4 miles to go to get there. So I've got another bunch of prints that I'm going to put in here. These are not really prints. They're what I would say are toe scrapes. And I would have walked right by them. I wouldn't have thought anything of it. Take a good look at them. Like I said, if you want copies of them to look at closer, give me an email. It's maxpowersbigfoothunter@gmail.com. And I'll send you originals. Like I said, they're HEIC files. I haven't translated them because I have lousy internet when I even have it. But these are toe scrapes in a hillside. Not like something was walking up. Not like something was too drunk to get up the hillside. But like something was looking for something. Perhaps like something was, I don't know, checking soil or, looking for a certain kind of insect. I don't know. Are they toe prints? Are they fingers? I don't know. If they're fingers, that changes everything. I mean, were they digging? Could it have been people? I don't know. These are, and I don't have a scale of reference to show you, and I apologize for that. But they were pretty wide. They'd be big darn fingers. Not that there aren't people out there with big hands, but they would be, big fingers. So when I was in the Green Swamp with Chris Connor, heading out to see his area, we had a planned agenda, so we didn't have time to stop. But I found a few spots that had, they were on little inclines, and they were like these toe scrapes. Once again, I want to stress that it wasn't like something was trying to climb up something. It wasn't like a fumbled step. It was like something was digging and looking for something. There's a couple other prints out there. I have a bunch from New Hampshire now, since I'd been looking for that after finding them in 2 separate places. I found them in New Hampshire. And Connor, I can't remember Connor's last name. I'm really sorry. Not Chris Connor, but Connor. That's his first name. From Florida. He's a writer. Really, really can tell a good story. But he found footprints in a cave, I believe, and they have stripes like this. I'll try and put a file together where you can see all of them. I don't know if that'll be possible, but I will certainly try. But if you have seen scrapes like this, something digging, like something's looking for something, I would love to know about it. That's all I'm going to say on that. And I'll get on with the rest of the video. I apologize for the last video. There's going to be a heck of a lot of that going on. But thanks for taking the time to watch this if you got this far. And it's almost over, but, still some good stuff. I am out combing the banks of the river. So in our last adventure, I found, I lost count of how many footprints I found. I lost count of how many footprints I found. I really did. They were anywhere from, I don't know. I think the shortest ones were 8. They may have been 6. They rank, which is completely within the realm of human possibility. It was kind of an odd spot to be barefoot. Maybe a family of barefoot hikers. I don't know. I'm barefoot right now, so it's entirely possible. I'm in a river. I'm in the river that the waterfalls led to. So that little tributary comes down to this river. I figured there would be more life in this river. I'm going to spin around. I'm in the middle of the river. Gorgeous day. So we've got the same kind. That was probably too fast for you. Hope you didn't get sick right there. We've got the same kind of, now the microphone's pointed towards the falls over there, but same kind of thick brush, that rhododendron. Tons of water. There is a road over there, but, and a few of the shots that I have, you'll be able to see cars go by. Fairly major route, but now that I'm out in the middle of the river, I can see it. When you're along the edges, you can't, and they can't see you. I would bet none of these people driving this road see that I'm standing in the middle of the river right now. That's just a hunch. But bigger area, arguably more chance for them to be seen because of the roadway there. But just an amazing habitat. I'm going to turn because the sun's in the wrong spot there. Here we go. Just like I was saying, an amazing habitat. All kinds of sign for bear. I've been here for, is this day 4 or day 5? I'm not sure. I have not seen any bear. I have not seen any deer. I haven't seen so much as a fisher. And I'm getting a weird kind of local vibe when I start talking to people about these things. Maybe I'll do like a conspiracy theory video later. Whoops, sorry about that. Matt Larson, it's not a gimbal, it's a selfie stick. But yeah, it's really just a cool area. Tons of places to hide. They tell me there's a ton of food sources. I haven't seen anything. I've seen tiny little birds. Maybe a squirrel, and that's about it. So what do we read into that? That I'm lousy at spotting wildlife? That's entirely possible. My glasses are in my pocket. Do we think that because Bigfoot's around, everything is hiding and quiet? You know, that's pure speculation. Should I, not do my dishes tonight and leave the dishes on the picnic table to see if I get any bear activity? There's other campers around, so I can't do that. But with all those footprints yesterday, and the size ranges, and the number of them, and how far they were from everyone else, it makes me, I just saw a tree break on the side. It's about 9 feet up. It's old. Do we even know they do that? I don't know. Here's the thing, I'm out looking for them. I haven't found them. With all the footprints I found yesterday, I haven't seen one. Not even like a boot print from people. on the side of this river. I had to like bushwhack my way through those vicious rhododendrons. They're really not. Once you get underneath them, they're incredibly hollow. They'd make an amazing spot to hide. I didn't find anything hiding under there. I don't know what to tell you. One day to the next. Yesterday was just full of odd stuff. I got, bushes rustling and things like that. Thought I heard Klingon. In the same spot, though, after that, I did hear a rooster crowing at 3 in the afternoon, so something in the bushes over there, something big. I keep hearing at the campsite random knocks, but today's got a little bit of breeze. If you look at the bushes behind me, I bet you can see them moving. And I'm not here to say there's no such thing as Bigfoot. You know that I know that there is. Just, I don't know, sharing my frustration. Some days you have so much activity that you don't know how anyone can think there isn't such thing as Bigfoot. And some days all you have is a really nice walk through an icy cold river. I'm gonna keep looking, and I'll let you know what I find. I'll show you. I got to shoot some lovely B-roll. I have a lot of wet equipment. My wallet is soaked right now. I should remember to leave that in the truck next time. Car keys almost went in. They did not. I rescued that, but we'll see if they work. I'm hoping they do. Yeah. That's all I got for you, kids. Maybe just another shot of that gorgeous waterfall up there. It's not, it's more.